this one, having lost 4 in a row while UVA has won 4 straight. Their sole focus is on this rivalry. Divine Diablo admitted that the last month has been rough for the Hokies, but he says rivalry week has rejuvenated, excited, and motivated he and his teammates to reclaim the Commonwealth Cup, especially after how things went down a year ago. While Brennan Armstrong's team has tunnel vision, there's no thoughts about potential bowl games. All he and his teammates want to do is beat Tech on their home field for the first time in 22 years, Dave.
Katie, thank you very much. We get it underway. Virginia won the coin flip. They defer to the second half, so Virginia Tech will have the football to get things rolling here tonight. Their quarterback situation has really been interesting because Braxton Burmeister will be the man to lead them out tonight. He played last week against Clemson, did not start, but he came in when Hendon Hooker went out of the ballgame. Very unusual circumstances. He was freezing. He came out of the contest. Burmeister orchestrated a scoring drive right away. Let's see what he can do tonight, right from Jump Street. And the handoff goes to the lead back right away as Herbert gets the carry. Had 96 yards against Clemson and a touchdown in a game they were in, Tim. They had an opportunity in that one. Very few teams can say that against the Tigers.
It was a one-score game with 5 minutes left in the third, and they had the football back.
Going to air this one out into the flat, and a completed pass. Grant with the coverage on it, but that's going to go for 7 yards and complete to Trey Turner. Big play Trey, they like to call him. So 3rd down and 2. Virginia Tech getting the football on the very first drive here. Now the last 3 times that these schools have met, it's been real close. Tech holding a slight scoring advantage over the 3 combined, 74-70. That's how tight it has been. And a handoff. It's Herbert again. He's going to get free in the center of the field, and he's breaking away down to the 30 with a little stutter step. Juice Herbert showing it off with a huge carry. That goes for 40 yards.
Yeah, and he does a nice job of just staying front side, finding, being patient, finding a hole, and then he puts that left foot in the ground and gets vertical. Little zone read. Just a great job of patience, vision, and then really just taking his first opportunity to get up the field. That's a nice job by Herbert.
He is leading FBS in all-purpose yards, over 1,600 yards. That's also number 1 in the ACC. And he's averaging over 100 rushing yards per game, second most in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And rips off a dandy there for 40 to bring up 1st down and 10. And the Hokies on the move, and they want him to try and bounce outside here. They're going to string him out, so nothing doing on that occasion. They saw that coming. He does not gain a single inch.
He doesn't. You see the energy, Dave. This feels like it, a rivalry game already. As you see Virginia do a good job of stringing this out, not allowing Herbert to get to the corner. Just look at the Virginia sideline, the excitement, the energy. And I think that both of these teams and head coaches have kind of talked to their players about, is it going to feel different than other Commonwealth Cups? We've got to bring our own energy. Looks like Virginia is there.
One of the reasons for that, and this is not overstating it, this could very well be the last football game these two teams play tonight, this season, here in 2020. Burmeister keeping on his feet. That's something he can do as well. Braxton Burmeister, the junior out of La Jolla, California, goes for 18.
That's a zone read. They're reading Manny Alonso.
Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Second out.
Well, that's going to come back.
Yeah, and part of the reason is Darisaw, the left tackle.
Makes it a little easier, yes.
Does make it easier. You see it, a lot of times these guys in space here, and he just kind of as Matt Gamm tries to spin out of it, I think it just looks like he's grabbing too much jersey. I don't know. That was a little tough.
He's going to go back, and now ahead. He comes with the football, going to keep it and dive ahead around the 30-yard line. Burmeister with the carry. And Jordan Redmond, the nose tackle, there with the stop. Just getting underway here tonight on a nice night in Blacksburg. Temperatures in the middle 50s. And overcast skies, but no threat of rain tonight So the weather is certainly cooperating. 3rd down and 11 coming up here for the Hokies.
Just take a look at it. This is what I mean about Virginia's sideline, and you called it, Dave. We're getting into this feel of like, hey, we got to bring our own energy. Like, no use saving anything with how this year has gone.
Yep, because this might be it. Maybe not a bowl either for either side. And that one is going to be fired incomplete. Burmeister chased down by Noah Taylor, who out of the gate is already moving as quick as anybody. The 6'5", 225-pound junior out of Silver Springs, Maryland, in pursuit.
And it's important for Virginia to have him back. He's been in and out of the lineup. Does have a lot of Virginia defenders, and so having him back, especially when you consider Charles Snowden being out, certainly helps his Virginia defense.
So for Brian Jordan, this will be 47 yards as that kick is in the air, and absolutely perfect for the Hokies. So they capitalize on a big gain by Juice Herbert. They take a 3-0 lead here in the first quarter. Well, number 21 is the early attack plan for the Hokies. It worked out very well in that scoring drive. He was right in the middle of it. 8 plays, 46 yards in just under 4 minutes. And Khalil Herbert with the number 1 carry. So it is 3-0 Virginia Tech with the field goal. Virginia won last year's Commonwealth Cup 39-30 at Charlottesville. They recovered a Hokie fumble in the end zone with about a minute left to play to secure that win. We take a look now at tonight's player spotlight, brought to you by Geico. The quarterback for Virginia, Brennan Armstrong. He has been one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in America since he came back from the NC State game, Tim, that you talked about.
You just look at that. Games with over 200 yards passing and at least 45 yards rushing. He's got 6 of them. He's the only one in FBS that's done that. And he's missed games. He's just a really gritty, tough football player that's been productive. And Bronco Mendenhall, saw this coming, and I think they're going to be patient with him as well as he kind of grows as a passer.
Left-hander, very good that way, and could be oh so dangerous on the very first carry. He picks up 8 yards right away. He's especially good on 3rd downs, on the 3rd down conversions. In fact, he's been spectacular, 14 of those, and many times he's done it with the legs. 2nd down and 2 for Virginia. They come in at 5-4, riding a 4-game winning streak that has completely turned their season around. Armstrong's the number 1 reason for that. He's going to fire. That one is going to loosen up the football. It's going to be incomplete. Out of the hands of Billy Kemp, who has been his number 1 receiver, but Connor with a big hit.
It's a really nice play, and another, excited sideline there, for Virginia Tech. And the ball thrown a little bit behind by Brennan Armstrong there leads to a 3rd down.
So 3rd and 2 for the quarterback out of Shelby, Ohio. He's going to carry that, and he's going to be straightened up by Diablo. Divine Diablo is wearing the number 25 tonight. That's a really nice honor. Frank Beamer number, and that'll gain 3 and pick up a 1st.
And he's such a weapon in this short yardage stuff. Looks like a quarterback sneak. He just kind of, walks up there, takes the snap from under center. But how about the field, Dave? Usually right in between the center and the guards, but that wasn't there. And so he's just kind of able to get out to the perimeter and pick up the 1st.
Thompson will take the handoff. Keaton Thompson will dive ahead as we toss it down to the field, and Katie George.
Well, guys, Brennan Armstrong often thinks back to that period where he was sidelined because of the concussion against NC State. He says those 2 weeks of recovery allowed him to reset and almost restart the season. And after he returned, he's performed extremely well. He said he wanted to do a better job of taking care of the football, not forcing it, and extending drives with his feet, and he's playing his best football right now.
Opens up a bit for Kemp after the reception, who has now caught 59 footballs this season, and this one will be ripped off for 14 yards.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting play here. They got to tackle Ryan Nelson out in space trying to block. Basically just gets in the way of Shamari Connor, and that allows Billy Kemp to get up the field. But unique formation there out of Robert Anai, offensive coordinator for Virginia.
And a young man throwing the block, number 81, the wide receiver, is the freshman Lavelle Davis, 6'7", and he can flat run. He is a superstar in the making. Armstrong's going to step up again as that play broke down, but he'll be taken down to bring up a second down after he gains 3 on the run.
You know, and Dave, what's interesting is this play does break down. It's a designed pass. The linemen aren't getting downfield, but this was a broken down play, if you will, as you described it, which is correct. And, you know, it's Brennan Armstrong still finding a way to get positive yards. Look, 3 yards on a first down run, you'll take that. And they're happy with it, and it's one of the things their quarterback does really well.
Well, he's got Keaton Thompson lining up with him. He's been a fascinating story this season. He's going to get the football again. No place to go as that closed up very quickly on Thompson, but he's a guy who can be a wide receiver, running back. He's even been a quarterback this season. Loses a yard on this play, however.
Yeah, he's basically been Cordell Stewart / for Keaton, you know, for this Virginia offense. They've played him at quarterback. They use him as a receiver, and you know, he helps them basically, you know, do unique things formationally that really challenge your defense. He lined up as a wide receiver. Now he just motioned into the backfield.
So he can be very, very confusing for a defense. He flares out, pass over the middle, and that'll be to the tight end, Tony Poljan, one of the better tight ends in a loaded tight end conference, the ACC. He's caught 5 touchdown passes. That goes for 10 yards.
Yeah, and it's Keaton Thompson who runs the wide route from the backfield who opens up Tony Poljan. And you're right, he's been another nice kind of grad transfer find for this Virginia offense throughout this season and been really productive. They like his kind of humble confidence on this football team.
He's going to roll and fire downfield, looking for the end zone, but overthrown. That was intended for Lavelle Davis, who has become one of the more dangerous targets, even though he doesn't get many thrown his way in all of the conference.
Yeah, and this is a previous play. You see Keaton Thompson kind of stretch the defense. That gets Poljan open, and you know, and you see you kind of get this combo of 6'7" Poljan. You got Thompson, who's, you know, every bit of 6'4", and then you got Lavelle Davis, who they take a shot to at 6'7".
3 wideouts stacked to the left for Armstrong. He's going to look the other way, however. He fires an incomplete. Wanted his tight end again, but he was well covered. Intended for Poljan. So 3rd down and 10 coming up. Now, Justin Fuente, Virginia Tech head coach, told us that he thought the Hokies would have one of the best secondaries in college football this season. That has not happened. Nothing close to that. In fact, Virginia Tech was touched up by BC's backup quarterback, Rossell, for over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Armstrong looking to fire again and complete to Kemp. And Kemp will dive ahead. Billy Kemp with another reception. And a 13-yard pickup stopped by Ashby.
Yeah, and this, you know, you go back to what Justin Fuente said. Basically 5 defensive back starters that were anticipated to start the season. He's down to 2. You know, Caleb Farley opts out. You've had injuries, and so, yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle throughout the season in the secondary for Virginia Tech. And that's been a bit of a challenge, I think, just mentally and emotionally for Justin Fuente.
4 first downs already on this drive. They'll stay on the ground. And, you know, one thing Virginia's done really well, Tim, you and I have had a bunch of their games. They have had a lot of drives that have gone for a lot of minutes on the clock. For example, they've had 4 different drives that have gone over 90 yards and have all wound up as a touchdown this season.
Yeah, I think it's a mark of a disciplined team to be able to sustain drives the way they have this season.
And do it again, and once again it's Kemp the target, and a little bit of chit chat in this rivalry game, covered by Strong, and they went back and forth a little bit, Dorian Strong, but an 8-yard gain there.
And again, it's Billy Kemp. You know, he typically does most of his work inside, kind of a slot receiver, pretty shifty, does a good job of feeling zones and sitting down in them, but you know, he's been pretty productive, you know, outside as well, coming into tonight with 58 catches. He really has been a nice kind of addition to their offense, and I'm not sure they knew that he would be able to contribute in this way to the start of the season.
So a penalty there, but good balance. There's 7 passes, 6 runs on this drive for Armstrong, and Virginia firing for the end zone, and a touchdown. Caught by Thompson. Well, that's just an amazing weapon they have. And Keaton Thompson, an 11-yard bullet for a touchdown for Virginia.
And again, they're moving him all around. This time he's lined up outside, as a receiver. And, Armani Chapman just lets him get inside. And at 5'11", Chapman has no shot once Keaton Thompson gets his body inside. And that's what I mean about slash for Keaton Thompson.
So another touchdown for him. And he's caught a few of them. He's rushed for a few of them. He can pass for a touchdown as well. 7-3, Virginia on top early. So this is meeting number 102, but it's the first time it's ever been played in the month of December. As mentioned last season, came right down to the final minute of play, and it still stings Virginia Tech that Virginia pulled that one out. Tim, was a hugely meaningful victory for the Cavaliers over and above the rivalry win.
It certainly was, and it does feel right to have this at the end of the season, doesn't it? I mean, it just, like, I get it, November, December, it's been rescheduled multiple times, but there is something nice about this one being played at the end of the regular season schedule. Obviously, there's some uncertainty beyond this, but I think the players, and we got the sense of that, just hearing from both programs about the excitement and how meaningful this game is to both programs.
Both head coaches, Bronco Mendenhall and Justin Fuente, talked this week about how proud they are that their teams have fulfilled their schedules every time that they could. Burmeister is going to air it out here and complete. Got that one outside to James Mitchell. You're talking about one of the great tight ends in the country, really. Out of Mountain Gap, Virginia. A guy who can run it too. He can also return punts.
Yeah, and you just look at the rescheduled nature of this game, Dave, to kind of continue on our conversation with it. I mean, it's a good kind of glimpse into the challenges of the season. It was originally scheduled for the 19th. It's been moved around, and I think these players are thrilled to be playing this game because of what it means and kind of the experience they've had playing it in the past for many of them.
Oh, pretty good stick there by Jackson. Nick Jackson, the inside linebacker, leads this team with 98 tackles.
Yeah, he's been their best defensive player this year, and boom, that is a big-time hit and tackle by Nick Jackson on a running back that very few people get those types of licks on in Khalil Herbert. But, yeah, Nick Jackson has had a great season, and, I think in many ways he's kind of held things together when other segments of this Virginia defense have been struggling.
Yeah, next tackle will be his 100th of the season. Burmeister with pressure. Gets free of that on the roll to his right, getting the pass away. Did a really fine job just getting it away, but a completion to Turner. That's going to go for 4.
Yeah, and really Joey Blunt's a free runner here. Joey Blunt should have a free run at Braxton Burmeister. It's a great job of escaping, and then it's a really good job in terms of the accuracy of the throw, running to his right, throwing the ball away from the defender. And, Joey Blunt's another player for Virginia. Been in and out of the lineup, and he's a very good player, but, it's tough. I don't care how good you are. It's tough when you miss time because of injury or otherwise, and, to all of a sudden catch up to the speed of the game.
That's a major reason Virginia is allowing just a ton of passing yards. And that's going to be thrown right into the turf. Incomplete to bring up second down. And as Braxton Burmeister gets the start at quarterback out of Southern California, and yes, he is an avid surfer. Southern California, a long way from Blacksburg, but he said, look, I have family in Virginia. I didn't feel like, I was going someplace too far away from home. It didn't strike me that way. I had a lot of family members in Virginia to rally around me.
But he did light up a little bit when you talked to him about surfing.
Yes, which obviously I know so much about. Going to be completed right there on the sideline. As Robinson makes the catch, one thing about Braxton about 5 or 6 weeks ago. A very large offensive lineman stepped on his foot, 380 pounds, and broke 3 of his toes. So he's been playing with that all season long because those take a while to heal.
And that's brutal. And really, his game is speed. I mean, anybody will tell you he's a very good runner because he's fast, and he's, they get explosive plays with him. And I think he's clearly feeling better, which should show itself in the quarterback run game.
Gets back in the waves. He's going to be hanging 7 initially. Here's Holston on the carry as he dives straight ahead and gains 4. So the ground attack has been very good early here for the Hokies. Virginia on top 7-3 late in the first quarter in a Commonwealth Cup game between these two rivals. Virginia's victory last year in this game ended the Hokies' 15-game winning streak. No room to operate there for Herbert as he goes sliding down. 15 in a row in that streak that came to an end in Charlottesville. ACC women's hoops coming your way on Sunday. Clemson taking on Pitt. That's at noon. And then the number 14 in the country, NC State, to take on Tim's alma mater, Boston College, at 2 p.m. Those games right here on ACC Network. Well, great to have you with us tonight. Players keeping their energy up on the Virginia and the Hokies benches. 3rd down and 5. And complete to Robinson as he takes the hit. Going to pick up a first, though. Nick Grant there for the coverage.
And this is a good job by Burmeister, just throwing on time. Just a simple hitch by Tavion Robinson. The ball's a little high, but because of the depth of the route, they grant forward progress and give him a first down. But throwing on time, critical in those situations. And it would not be surprised, seeing the way that Nick Grant drove on that route there, to see Virginia Tech double move later or do something to kind of test this Virginia secondary that's really struggled this season.
Jalen Holston, a running back, out of the shotgun. Now he's going to roll again, looking downfield. Time to throw, puts it in the air, but incomplete, thrown out of bounds to bring up 2nd down for the Hokies. We talked about both head coaches being very proud of the fact that they've been able to play so many games, but there's no question, and a flag down here, they're moving in opposite directions. The Hokies, a 4-game skid. So just 54 seconds left in the first quarter. Referee Riley Johnson.
There's no foul for an eligible receiver downfield. The ball was thrown away. 2nd down.
All right, so it's just 2nd down. And, Virginia Tech's been a team on a spiral ever since that controversial loss with 1 second left to Liberty way back on November 7th, when Fuente blamed himself for an ill-timed timeout. It's been an exhausting season for both programs, but you can really feel the weight of it with COVID-19 in particular. Burmeister's going to wind up and fire way downfield deep and nearly intercepted in the end zone. Nick Grant there on coverage again, intended for Trey Turner.
Intended for Trey Turner, and Nick Grant does a nice job of kind of squeezing the post of Trey Turner. Trey Turner's running to the post, but watch Nick Grant kind of squeeze him, try to flatten him off as much as possible. And that doesn't allow Turner to stay vertical and maybe make a play on the football. And it's a pretty good job by Nick Grant. And really so far by this Virginia secondary that, as I said, just, hasn't played as well as I think many people thought they would play, especially with so much experience in their secondary.
Hokies have been pretty good here in the first quarter on 3rd down. 3 for 4, trying to keep the drive rolling here. Once again, Burmeister on the move to fire, and it's complete to Hodge. Changa Hodge with the catch. That's an 11-yard gain.
And it's a pretty good job here by Burmeister again. He must have worked to his left, but Matt Graham runs underneath the route, and so as he escapes to the right, just does a good job of finding Chenga Hodge on the sideline, and the Villanova transfer was able to get enough yards to pick up a first down and extend this drive. And you also get a sense of Burmeister, his athleticism, and really how he wants to escape outside the pocket.
Yep, even on maybe the balky foot, showing no ill effects on that as he picks up another first down. They're going to hand this one off into the center of the line, breaking free. Holston busted a tackle or two before they took him down. Grant and King, and you raise it up and you let the other guy know they got to wait a year to win it back.
It's also pre-COVID, Dave. No one's sharing that at Cups in 2020.
Yeah.
Let's be. That just looked weird seeing that. Like you can't do that anymore.
No.
There'll be some things we got to get used to.
Yes. For a little while anyway. The vaccine's on the way. Let's hope that that's one of the things that returns in full force. The stop by Mandy Alonso on a carry by Holston. Kind of interesting that Jalen Holston is getting all of these carries now and not Herbert, even though he came firing out of the gate tonight.
And, you know, we had that big collision with Nick Jackson. We did see him since that point. Has had a carry from that point, but it is, you know, not typical that we would see Holston this much this early.
3rd down and 1, looking for another first down. There have been a lot of those in the early going, and a carry by Holston picks it up.
Yeah, and we just go back. This was the collision, and, you know, it was a big collision. Obviously, you know, Nick Jackson was the hammer and Khalil Herbert was the nail, but he's got his helmet on. Looks like he's ready to re-enter the game. It is something to note seeing Holston this much early on in the game.
Just underway, second quarter, 7-3 Virginia. Holston has to cut back to his left before he is stopped on the play. And a flag thrown here.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 95. Penalty is half the distance to the goal line, and an automatic first down.
Monterrey with the personal foul, the face mask. So the first penalty really hurts either side as Virginia Tech tries to drive for the end zone. This drive has lasted almost 7 minutes. On the run, and it is Herbert to get the football again. So getting back into the groove. Gam with the tackle, but it picks up 5.
Yeah, it's good to see him back in for Virginia Tech offensively. And, you know, you just look at this, Dave. You talk about these drives. I mean, the commitment to running the football and chipping away has been good. You also, you know, think back to a couple of those 3rd down completions by Braxton Burmeister. This has been a pretty good answer so far by this Virginia Tech offense.
No question about it. Going to be another hand up. This one for Turner. Turner, the wideout, going ahead into the end zone. He stayed on his feet, and he gets in for the touchdown. Some of the versatility for the Hokies as the wideout gets in on the carry.
Yeah, well, they've been pounding the football straight ahead, and then how about the jet sweep with Khalil Herbert out in front to kind of escort Trey Turner to the perimeter. And, you know, nice job of play calling, nice job of switching it up by Virginia Tech, and that's an impressive drive. You know, after the Keaton Thompson touchdown reception, you know, to get the football back and march it down the field the way they did, that's a great response by the Hokies.
And the extra point is good. You're right, a mighty impressive drive. 17 plays, but a touchdown and the lead. Clemson and Virginia Tech. Then at 8:30, it's Georgia Tech and FSU. Florida State absolutely loaded. That's Tuesday on ACC Network. That scoring drive, 17 plays, great balance, 9 runs and 8 passes, Tim.
It was a great drive, and really their first one without the holding penalty on Darrisaw could have been similar.
So 12:53 to go in the second. Good one underway, 10-7 Hokies. And Notre Dame, Chalk Talks, virtual fan experiences, and more. The hub launches Monday. It's accessible from the ACC mobile app or accchamphub.com. So Virginia staying on the ground here with the quarterback Armstrong on first down. He'll gain 6 as Virginia Tech has jumped into the lead 10-7. What a scoring performance by North Carolina today against Miami. They blew the doors off the Hurricanes 62-26. And man, did they do it on the ground. Michael Carter 308 yards. Javonte Williams 236 yards. And a tremendous defensive play. That one batted down as the pass was intended for Henry. Connor with a great diving play.
Yeah, that ball is, again, a little bit inside. You want to miss outside on outbreaking routes, and Brennan Armstrong doesn't do that. And it is a nice break on the football. Chamari Connor. Really, I've been impressed with the way that both secondaries so far have, have kind of just made plays on the football and been aggressive with how they've attacked things. That's a nice job there by Connor.
Armstrong's been perfect on third down so far tonight. He's going to run with the football here, staying on his feet. Going to be real close.
Just a design QB draw with Grant Mish as the lead blocker, the tight end getting into the backfield, and really going to come down to the spot here.
So 4th down and 1, and Armstrong stepping off. And they're going to have to punt away. Nash Griffin on for Virginia. And Virginia Tech has won 19 of the last 21 games in this series. And they have Virginia at home here tonight. And to punt that one short. And it's loose. And Virginia has it. On special teams, they forced the turnover. As the punt is muffed, and it was James Mitchell who had trouble with it, and Stewart came up with it.
And field of punts been a big issue for Virginia Tech. They've got the 242-pound tight end, fielding this punt. He did it a week ago and did a pretty good job of it, but, just misjudges that one. I think a more experienced returner probably, when he realizes he's not going to field it cleanly, can get out of the way. And the guy's a really good football player. That's a tough spot to be in. It really puts his defense in a tough spot.
As you know very well, the Hokies are the ones known for tremendous special teams play. Faking a run here, and Armstrong will go down as he takes the hit and will gain 3 yards. Stopped by Diablo.
And Dave, that's a great point. I mean, this program, in the reputation of special teams and Frank Beamer and the history of great players that have played on special teams at Virginia Tech, and the buy-in that you get, from players playing on special teams, and it shows you the challenges this season with injuries, things of that nature, that where you have a tight end, returning punts for you.
Devin Taylor, the corner, coming up, and he makes the stop there. They certainly weren't fooled on that one. It does not merit a single inch on the carry. Virginia Tech with a 10-7 lead. And Armstrong trying to pull off another conversion here on 3rd and 7. The left-hander will throw over the middle, and incomplete, intended for Thompson again. He's complaining. He thought a flag should have been thrown there, but it was not. And good coverage by Armani Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman does a good job. They roll the coverage. Virginia Tech does. Watch, in the orange jersey there, Connor, he rotates over the top. Probably gets a little bit of Keaton Thompson, and but not enough to draw a flag. And that's a good job of disguising coverage, rolling to it, and it's actually a pretty good job of seeing it by Brennan Armstrong. That's well played by the Virginia Tech defense. Big stand.
Brian Delaney on 39 yards for the field goal attempt, and it's no good. So they fail to capitalize on the turnover on special teams. Virginia Tech on top by 3 in the second quarter.
many completions to keep the drive alive. And, then they hit the jet sweep for the score to Trey Turner. I think it was a really well-called drive, in terms of play calls, well-executed drive. And it's a nice job by the Virginia Tech offense. And then a really great job by their defense after the James Mitchell fumbled punt.
Well, they took over on the Virginia Tech 24 and could not score. Burmeister to roll and fire, and a completion out to Nick Gallo, the number 2 tight end. They have 2 very good ones. Let's toss it down to Katie George.
Well, guys, after the muff punt, James Mitchell was swarmed by teammates telling him to shake it off, keep his head up. Justin Fuente told him the same, and Mitchell has practiced returning punts all season just in case he needed to step in because somebody tested positive or was contact traced for COVID-19. He's a competitive, resilient kid, and I can confirm he had a smile across his face as that field goal went wide.
I'll bet he did. He's a very, very popular player on this team. There's no question about that. So he's a rallying point for Virginia Tech. They stay on the ground for Herbert, starting to get back into the flow again, but no gain.
Yeah, and just to kind of finish up on James Mitchell, that's almost an impossible situation to be in. I mean, it's not his designed position or any of that. And to kind of give a sense of what teams deal with, Braxton Burmeister even took reps, practicing returning punts. And it's just something that you probably have to do, no different than making sure you have a long snapper, which was also an issue at one point in the season for Virginia Tech. And so, it's one of the things I think, is for the reason of frustration this season for what teams are faced with.
Burmeister has an open man. He's going to get that one free. It's Mitchell as he will tiptoe out of bounds. Pushed out by Cohen King. But how about coming back for 38 yards on this reception?
Yeah, big time. He just leaks out to the corner in a move the pocket play here as Burmeister, moves to his right. And that's a great job and probably more in line with what James Mitchell is comfortable doing. Great play there by the big tight end.
Yeah, 3rd highest rated tight end in the class of 2021, says Mel Kiper. So they probably won't talk a whole lot about punt returns. You didn't play with many guys 6'3", 240 who return punts. I know you didn't. As Herbert tries to bounce outside, he's dragged out.
Yeah, and listen, and not many guys that run routes and are willing blockers and just all around great tight ends the way that James Mitchell is as well. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his future is, whether it's, in the NFL next year or sometime after that. But he does have a bright future at the position.
He's a junior, and of course this season does not count against any player's eligibility. 2nd down and 8. Herbert again in the backfield. And the handoff here for Hodge, and Hodge not going very far as Virginia gets to him. And that's Joey Blount you talked about earlier. He's had a very tough season, nicked up, but looking healthy tonight.
Yeah, and look how aggressive he decides to fill right here. That's a great job by Joey Blount. And you can see why, they missed him. See it, trust it, and go attack and play downhill. And listen, I think with some of the injuries that they've had, it's good to see him back. He's a really good football player. I think he was fighting through injuries early on in the season, and it's a big play there on 2nd down.
A key call here, 3rd down and 10, trying to keep the drive alive for the Hokies. Out of the gun. Burmeister flushed out. He's going to fire that one out of bounds into the Virginia bench. A lot of pressure there. That was Blount again as he was giving chase.
And they decide to bring him. That's one of the things I think that makes him a unique player. He's a very good blitzer. He finds himself at times as a half-field defender, or a middle-of-the-field safety. Virginia is pretty versatile in terms of where they line guys up, but I think he's also a really good blitzer and does a nice job coming off the edge there. We saw him earlier also.
So this will be a 47-yard attempt on a field goal by Brian Johnson. Hit a 54-yarder against Clemson. Gets this one in the air, and it is good. He drills it from 47. So the Hokies on the board again, leading 13-7.
Coaches and players and Look, we're at this point, and I think it's been surprising to a lot of people, but there's been a lot of football played, and I think that it's probably the right perspective to take at this point with the way that the teams have been able to be available to play each and every weekend.
I think the bowl situation could be entirely different. Obviously, schools are beginning to opt out of consideration for bowls. Boston College and Pitt just in the conference this week. A couple who have done that. I don't think they're going to be the last ones to do that. First down 10 for Armstrong, and a flare that one out and incomplete. And intended for Simpson coming out of the backfield. You know, one thing you have to remember, and I think a lot of the coaches are beginning to talk about this, Tim, pretty candidly. Their players have been on campus for months, unable to see their families. They were not allowed to go for Thanksgiving and return to their homes, to see their parents, to see their loved ones. Simpson on the handoff, staying on his feet, gets a nice carry. So at this point, you know, you're talking about kids who've been on campus, players back to July, right?
Yeah.
And unable to get home.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, Dave. I mean, you nailed it. It's, you know, many of these players, they enjoy having their family come and watch them play a game. You know, many instances they haven't been able to do that. And, you know, and then you take Thanksgiving, maybe not able to see your family because of, you know, campus rules, school rules in terms of, you know, what happens if you leave campus. So, yeah, I think that it's an unusual situation to be in. I think, you know, many times you're dying to go to a bowl game and have that experience. But to see the decision made by Boston College and Pitt, and as you said, probably some others in the future, I think many of them are doing it because of the sacrifice they've seen their players already make, and they maybe see that as enough.
Now Simpson becoming a featured performer here. He's in motion for the Cavaliers. Armstrong's going to fire again, and that'll be complete as he gets that pass out to Jana for a 4-yard gain. I think a lot of the coaches are just talking like human beings. They want to make sure that their kids are happy, that their players get a chance to see their families. The bowl experiences are very different now. This particular year, at least, you know, for this window that we're in, the age of the pandemic, a lot of the time at the bowl sites has been shrunk to just a couple of days. You're not going to get an opportunity to get out and see a lot of the sites and participate with your teammates in those great events that make the bowl so attractive. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. A diving effort, but that one incomplete. Intended for Davis. The 6'7" freshman could not make the play.
Yeah, and Brennan Armstrong has him. He's running a slant. He's looking for him in that second window after he passes Devin Taylor, and he's open. And I think Brennan Armstrong just needs to give him a better ball, and he probably can keep him up, and Lavelle Davis probably run afterwards. So, you know, a third down opportunity there missed by Virginia and Brennan Armstrong.
So 4:41 to go here before halftime. And once again, it's going to be Mitchell back for the punt as Griffin gets it off. This one very sure-handed by Mitchell as he will go down. And that's where the drive will begin for Virginia Tech. They're already up 13-. I'll get the latest news and great information from the ACC each morning with special guests from the world of sports. It's Packer and Durham. Weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on ACC Network and the ESPN app. ACC Network football from Lane Stadium here in Blacksburg. Commonwealth Cup. Virginia and Virginia Tech. Hokies on the move here. Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck from our homes. Katie George live, and there goes Herbert up the middle. Are they going to catch him to the 40, the 30, breaking away? Juice is loose, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown.
That's a great run, and we see the speed, but it's the job of the guys up front. I'm not sure he's even touched. Does a good job of stretching it, press the hole, you know, moving to his left, and then just get vertical. And at that point, it's the speed. And I think this is the thing that really has probably been the biggest surprise with him this season is how much speed he actually has. I mean, that's a great job of the guys up front, but that's a lot of speed out of Khalil Herbert. And you know, we hadn't seen a lot of big plays. We had, you know, kind of sustained drives. Big one there.
You know, he took an early hit from Jackson, but he knows how to hit back, like to the tune of 76 yards here.
Yeah, that's quite a counter punch, Dave. You're exactly right. And it's excellent by the guys up front because this isn't down in one-hand touch. And it's a good job of him setting up his blockers, working with them as they are moving to their left with that zone run scheme. And that's a nice job. 16th rush of over 20 yards this season. And, you know, you get big plays out of the run game. It means there's a lot of people contributing. You've got receivers blocking downfield. Obviously, the guys up front doing a good job, but usually it's because you've got a really talented back, and he most certainly is that.
Virginia Tech with their longest play of the season. I should say so. 76 yards. The rumble by Herbert to put the Hokies on top 20-7. So the Cavaliers in a little bit of a state of shock as the Hokies taking hold of this one. And on the short kick, it goes out. They'll toss the flag there.
Kick out of
Virginia, very hot team, coming in.
Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First out.
So by rule, they go to the 35-yard line to place the football. Virginia with a 4-game winning streak. But at the moment, the Hokies are the team looking like they are the one on the roll. Even though they have dropped 4 consecutive games. Don't forget, at one point fairly early in the season, Virginia Tech was a top 20 team. They had a 4-2 record. And they were ranked in the top 20. Armstrong trying to lead the Cavaliers back, and the reception will be made by Jana on the near sideline.
You have to be out here, yeah.
And you know, Dave, you go back to Virginia Tech. It was interesting to hear Justin Fuente say, we were 2-0, but just for the record, I was still miserable, to kind of give the sense of, of the stresses of this season. But you're right, you know, and I think, you know, injuries, opt-outs, things like that haven't helped.
2nd down and 4, and a quick shot and a completed pass to Henry. Rashawn Henry, his first 4 catches of the season all went for touchdowns. One of the more unusual statistics in the ACC this year. He picks up a 1st down. The southpaw will run ahead once again. He's got some rushing skills. Got close to the 50-yard line. He'll pick up 3. And you talk about, you know, the stress on a head coach, not knowing every Saturday morning if you're going to be able to play when you wake up in the morning. On top of that, for Fuente, he personally has been COVID tested 40 times this season. That's just incredible.
Yeah, I think it's good for people to know that the sacrifice and the anxiety and the stress that goes along with making this happen, and, you know, commitment from the coaching staff, universities, players, everybody alike.
Armstrong to keep it again. And he goes down after a pickup of 3 yards and stopped by Hewitt. Jared Hewitt, the nose tackle, the senior, says that loss to Virginia last year, he said, it's been eating at us all year long. It came down to the last play, and they outmatched us. And so far tonight, it's been the other way around in the Hokies' favor. And Talapapa into the running back, but Armstrong wants to dump it over the middle and broken up with some authority by Diablo. He put a hit on Thompson and knocked him off his feet.
Yeah, Devon Diablo wearing Frank Beamer's 25. Does a good job of just driving on this football, this throw to Keaton Thompson. Also does a great job of, you know, with the targeting rules the way they are, taking his head out of it, leading with his shoulder into the body of Keaton Thompson. And, you know, I think he's their best defensive player and does an excellent job right there.
Now proudly wearing Frank Beamer's number 25 for the 5th time in his career. Quite an honor. And forcing the punt. Back once again, Mitchell for the fair catch this time. So another drive to get underway, and time to do some damage here for Burmeister and the Hokies on top 20-7 with 2:24 to go before the break.
Yeah, and with that kind of time, you know, you would think, especially with some of the success in the run game, that And all the timeouts available. Pretty good situation for Virginia Tech to be in here and, be aggressive, but you don't have to get it all back at once.
On the pump fake, Burmeister will let fly into the flat and complete to Turner, and he is going to be shoved out of bounds as we go down to the field. And Katie George.
Well, Hendon Hooker may not have gotten the start tonight, but he's doing his part on the sidelines, guys. He's been engaged, supportive. He talks with Burmeister after each drive. He's even been in the offensive line meetings, talking X's and O's with those guys. So he's playing a different part tonight, but an important one nonetheless.
After the 15-yard gain, they're going to keep on the ground here with Herbert. Many Tech fans were expressing lots of concern for Hendon Hooker, that the junior quarterback might have been having a seizure last week or some COVID-related issue when he was seen shaking uncontrollably in Saturday's loss to Clemson. He started the game, but he was replaced after the opening possession by Burmeister, and Hooker had fumbled. Burmeister had to come out of the game as he took a knock in the third quarter. Hendon Hooker returned only to fumble again, and finally they just let him off the field, and that was a very, very scary situation, but it was not an injury.
It was a scary situation, and I think by all accounts they feel like he is healthy, and I think they also felt like Braxton Burmeister, with how he has played this year and the opportunities he's been given, that he probably gives the team the best chance to win in this Commonwealth Cup, and I think the guys have in many ways rallied around Braxton Burmeister.
Herbert takes the handoff, shooting through the center of the line again, and picks up a first down. So when they need the big gain, say 76 yards, with a short yardage, they go to number 21. "40 seconds before halftime. Time in the pocket. Burmeister, nice throw there, and he got it free to Robinson, and Robinson is free down the sideline into the end zone for a touchdown. A late strike here in the first half, and it's a 60-yard play for the Hokies.
Yeah, this is just good throw by Braxton Burmeister on time. Basically has an isolation route to the backside. Devontae Cross just does a horrible job of tackling. And Tavion Robinson, who's got a lot of speed, he's a big play receiver for Virginia Tech, but it's a combination of good offense and bad defense there, and pretty representative of some of the struggles we've seen for Virginia defensively.
Well, that secondary has at times just been miserable for the Cavaliers, but a big play for 60 yards. And there have been a handful of those here in the first half for the Hokies here at home. They have raced out to a 27-7 lead over their rivals here in the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah, and you just think about how, this game went. After that James Mitchell fumble, you almost wondered how this team would respond. The defense makes a great stand. And from that point, it's been big play after big play for the offense, and the defense has continued to find ways to get stops.
Touchdowns of 76 and 60 yards for Virginia Tech here in the first half, and they have opened it up with 31 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Braxton Burmeister stepping into that starting role here tonight. 164 yards here in the first half with a touchdown in 10 out of 15. So a 27-7 lead for the Hokies. And Tim, you've played here and you've called this particular stadium and Blacksburg the toughest place to play when the fans are in the house. It is so, I can't imagine what it would be like now.
Yeah,
in this environment,
Yeah, they'd be going crazy right now. Yeah, I mean, it just, fans feel like they're on top of you. The band is right behind the visiting team's bench. It's loud. They're into it. This time of year, obviously, you play them in December. It's cold. Everything about it is difficult. And, so, it's an advantage that they haven't had this season, quite honestly.
Armstrong to Poljan, who will step out of bounds. A 16-yard completion, just seconds remaining here in the first half. And by the way, the 60-yard pass play for the Hokies, their longest pass play of the season. Armstrong with a short one again to the tight end. And trying to go quickly here. With 18 seconds left before halftime, they'll gain the first down. And a clock running to 10 seconds. And stops at 7.
Virginia timeout. 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 10 seconds.
Virginia will take the timeout to reset the clock to 10 seconds, but wasting some time there.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of confusion of what they wanted to do and how they were getting lined up to do it. And, you know, obviously they get a first down, and so, you know, the clock stops, you know, until it's, you know, kind of spotted and ready for play there. But, you know, this situation with having 3, you know, I think that timeout needs to be called immediately. You know, in this situation, Dave, you're probably looking for, you know, maybe try to pick up 5-7 yards, something, get a little bit closer. So you can find yourself in a situation where, you know, you don't have to protect as long on a throw to the end zone on a Hail Mary situation on the next play.
The football nearly at the 50-yard line. 10 seconds to go as they reset the clock. Final moments of the first half. Virginia Tech breaking away on their home field here at Lane Stadium. Armstrong, first down and 10. Still on the move. And now he's going to run it out of bounds with a flag down and 2 seconds left when he stepped out, but a flag was tossed.
Offensive holding, number 54. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And I think understanding these situations, right? If you're the quarterback here, you have 10 seconds left on the clock. And, you know, Brennan Armstrong kind of playing with fire there a little bit, holding on to the football, letting things develop before running out of bounds. Then you get a negative play, obviously, as the offensive line is trying to rally for the quarterback. And now it also makes it more difficult to reach the end zone throwing a Hail Mary. And, oh, by the way, you know, throwing one from midfield with 2, 6, 7, you know, pass catchers on your football team would give you a shot.
Dump to Kemp. Kemp in the open field is going to lateral it backward here to Armstrong. Loose as he will scoop it up, and that's how the first half will come to an end. And the Hokies, with all of that momentum, big play touchdowns, a 76-yard run, a 60-yard pass, and some pushing and shoving. And we saw some hard hits, too. You're going to see that in any college football game, but in a rivalry like this.
Virginia looking to go back to back. Get those wins for the first time since 97-98. The first quarter,
okay, Drake.
Brennan Armstrong, the lucky lefty, to Keaton Thompson, 11-yard touchdown. Cavaliers up 7-3. Short-lived, though. Second quarter, Hokies in the red zone. Braxton Burmeister got the nod, hands it off to Trey Turner, who got the job done. 6 yards. Hokies lead 10-7. More Hokies on their own 24-yard line. Who's got the juice now? I got the juice now. Juice Herbert takes the handoff. Khalil is no match for that Virginia defense. That's a foot race, and there's a distinct winner. 76 yards to the residents. Hokies 17-7. Just before the half, Hokies getting greedy. Burmeister, Tavion Robinson, some on-camera chemistry. Takes that thing into the end zone. That's what got us 27-7. Katie George and Coach Fuente at the break.
Justin, it's a big game, and your team is making big play after big play. Let's start with the offense. What impressed you about the way they started that first half?
Well, I think, you know, we maintained a couple drives when on third down when we weren't exactly.
Virginia Cavaliers taking on the Virginia Tech Hokies here from Blacksburg, and here's your score. All Hokies 27-7 as we get ready for the third quarter, Tim.
Yeah, and it was a great response because Virginia jumps out, you know, with a 7-3 lead, but then it was Trey Turner on the fly sweep. And then all of a sudden, here came the big plays. It was Khalil Herbert ripping off a 76-yard run. And then before the half, the big completion to Tavion Robinson on a nice throw from Braxton Burmeister. And, you know, big plays from this Hokie offense as their defense third down, many of those some Braxton Burmeister timely completions, you know, that really kept things going for him early on in this football game.
Our Zaxby's first half stats. Virginia will have the football, and they won the opening coin toss. They defer to the second half. So the Cavaliers about to have it on offense, and they need a quick strike behind Brennan Armstrong. He had been so good over the last 5 games, but for him, a very pedestrian first half in many respects. He did have a passing touchdown, 99 yards in the air total for Armstrong in the previous 5 games since coming back from the concussion. 1,300 passing yards, 11 touchdowns. He had rushed for almost 400 yards, 2 more touchdowns. Hokies did a real good job shutting him down for the most part. He's going to dart that one to Kemp to get the second half underway on a pass play, and that'll go for 8 yards on the first strike of the second half. (27-7). Let's toss it down to Katie George.
Well, guys, Bronco said this first possession is critical. His offense needs to start moving the ball to generate some momentum defensively. He said the 2 big plays were killer. They need to limit explosive plays these next 2 quarters.
Armstrong eludes one man, but not a second man coming up to say hello as Armstrong was knocked off his feet. Barno getting to him, chasing him down.
Yeah, and Barno is a good player. You see how long he is in the ground that he covers. And that's one that Brennan Armstrong, you know, as you get outside there, you just got to throw it away.
Offense number 72. Penalties decline. Third down.
On Ryan Swoboda, who is the reigning ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week last week. So on the hold, 3rd down and 11. Now this is where Armstrong has been so good leading up to this game on 3rd and long. Going to hand off here. The carry by Talapapa as he is stacked up. And they're all over him. Pollard, the first man to make contact.
That's an interesting play call, you know, 3rd and 11. And I think there's been a couple of times this year on 3rd and long situations where, you know, they've been a little more aggressive with their play call, and Brennan Armstrong maybe hasn't made the best decision. I think Robert Ernai, you know, in many respects wants to take that away from Brennan Armstrong. And so, listen, running it on 3rd and long, punting the football, and flipping the field, maybe not the worst thing in the world for Virginia.
Oh, fake, and going to try and keep it alive with a pass play here, and got the completed pass for a first down. And how about the trickery and deceit here by Virginia to keep that drive alive on the fake?
Or it's great coordination about what's going on, because you get a manageable situation to run your fake punt. And, you know, sure enough, it's a good job by Nash Griffin moving to his left, making the throw to Nick Jackson. And Nick Jackson's 2nd catch of the season.
So 1st down and 10, pressure on Armstrong. He gets it incomplete to the sideline of the Hokies, intended for Billy Kemp. Jamari Connor has been really active tonight in more ways than one. There's a lot of conversation here after the play, but he's been really good this evening.
He really has. He's a pretty good player. You know, I think some of these guys, too, just being in this situation, the rivalry game, as we talked about earlier, maybe the last one of the year, certainly a lot of chirping going on.
2nd down 10. And a long pass play, and it's going to be incomplete. Trying to get it to the tallest guy on the field, Lavelle Davis at 6'7". He can stretch the field in a couple of different ways. Strong again with the coverage. You're talking about the rivalry. It's the 102nd all-time meeting. They have been playing against each other since 1895, but this the first time in the month of December that they have met because of the postponements due to COVID-19. 3rd down and 10 for Armstrong. Another key call for him. The lefty slings it, and it's going to be batted down and incomplete.
This was nearly a
been
disaster.
a lot of I think pats on the helmet for Diablo tonight, Tim, for good reason.
Yeah, and that's a good job of Diablo, breaking on the football. What was unique there is Tony Poljam's not even looking for the ball. And so Brennan Armstrong and Poljam just not on the same page, because he's trying to sneak it in there quickly. And it looked like Divine Diablo was more on the same page with Brennan Armstrong.
Griffin will drive back. Mitchell here is going to try and take it out of there. And gets across the 20 to about the 22, but another flag is down. 49-yard punt. The return of 7. So drive begins here for the Hokies, already ahead 27-7 over Virginia. And Herbert, who may get a lot of action here in the second half, gets the first carry on this drive. Now the key dates coming up: college football playoff December 20 is selection show day presented by AT&T. January 1, the semifinals, Rose Bowl and All-State Sugar Bowl, and then the national championship game presented by AT&T. Playoffs. 2nd down and 8 for the Hokies. Braxton Burmeister getting the start at quarterback, and he's done a really fine job tonight. Herbert again. Nice opening for him as they spring him for a gain of 7. Stopped by Cohen King. And 3rd down coming up. 3rd and short for the Hokies.
You mentioned Burmeister has, played a nice game so far, as obviously Khalil Herbert has as well. These guys up front too. The offensive line has been seen as a strength of this football team. They have depth there. I think the guys up front have done a really good job against the Virginia front that usually is pretty good at stopping the run.
3rd and short. He's going to keep that as he goes spinning out of bounds, but he picks up a 1st down. Burmeister on the carry. He is roommates with the center, Brock Hoffman. Take a look.
Yeah, and this is a nice job again of having it all blocked up. I mean, everybody, and then that time it's Khalil Herbert. Nice unselfish play by the running back. He leads up on Nick Jackson, and yeah, I think Brock Hoffman and the rest of the group there doing a really nice job, and that's why it's been such a clean performance out of Braxton Burmeister.
Well, Juice Herbert will take a breather, and Jalen Holston, the senior from Stockbridge, Georgia, gets the carry and give him 2 yards before he meets Nick Jackson, who had a big hit early in the game on Herbert, and of course was just involved in the fake punt moments ago, which went for 1st down for the Cavaliers. 2nd down and 7. And the Hokies looking for a long sustained drive and to really put a hurt on the Cavaliers. And look at a bounce outside. It's Holston with room to run as he took to the sideline before he goes into the bench area. And an 11-yard gain. Nice run.
Yeah, it's a nice run. It's a split zone, meaning they're going to run zone. They're going to bring the tight end across the formations. Good job of bouncing it. And then Matt Gamm just can't make the tackle. And Matt Gamm filling in for Charles Snowden. And how many times have we seen Snowden with those long arms and that reach be able to corral, a runner trying to bounce it outside? And, it's plays like that where you see the loss as we take a look at Charles Snowden on the scooter.
Maybe on the scooter, but he's into the game. You could tell by that stare. Burmeister back to throw again. Airs it out. Oh, tremendous catch. Outstanding play by James Mitchell with a one-handed grab as he picks up a 1st down.
Yeah, play action. They leak him out, kind of wheel him up the sideline. And James Mitchell, that's really good. Good job of the tight end who's done a nice job in the run game this evening. Good job making a play on a football there that was probably thrown a little bit further than Burmeister intended to throw it.
Yeah, so when you slightly overthrow one, but a guy makes a catch like that, kind of bail you out, what do you tell him when he comes back to the huddle?
Usually something like, I love you, thank you.
Look for my Christmas card. That went for 23. And that time Virginia saw the play developing, and it goes absolutely nowhere as Robinson gets tangled up for a loss of 7.
Yeah, it's a good job. And, you know, we were talking about Snowden, looking him, and you were right.
During these challenging times, ESPN and the V Foundation's fight against cancer has not stopped. If you're able, please support cancer research by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of what you give goes to cancer research. Second down, 17. And Herbert with the carry loses the helmet. Hanging on to the football. Gam with the stop. So Herbert is going to have to take a play off. 8:09 to go here in the third. He's got to find it there in the pile.
You know, normally when you lose it, it's right there next to you. He's got to, like, I know I have to go out, but I'm going to need my helmet, you know, to put it back on to come back in.
So brings up third down. Holston will replace Herbert at the running back for the Hokies, who lead at 27-7. Burmeister has an opening. He's going to take advantage across the 30. And he'll get 8 of those back, chased out by Elijah Gaines. And the Hokies trying to snap a 4-game losing skid and pick up their 5th win of the season, trying to end Virginia's 4-game winning streak here in this rivalry matchup. So Brian Johnson on. He's become the first Hokie kicker to nail 3 or more from 50 yards in a single season. There's 47 yards, and it's good. And he's hit 2 of those in this game.
Now wearing a team jacket. Underneath, his right arm is in a sling, and he is without his helmet, a usual indicator of being out for the game. He will not return, which is a big offensive loss for UVA.
Well, it sure is in so many ways, Tim, because they get so creative with him.
That's the point, Dave. They do get creative with him. They obviously use him a number of ways. As a receiver, as a runner, and even as a thrower at times. It's interesting. He did have a shoulder kind of issue as he was competing for the quarterback job, you know, early in training camp, and, you know, with it being his right shoulder that's injured.
A flag down here as it gets a little bit chippy once again on a return by Shane Simpson, but a flag is tossed close to the 30-yard line after the return on the kickoff. 30-7. The Hokies with 7:04 to go here in the third, and a game that was expected to be really nip and tuck, very close. We'll take a close look here, and we talk about a rivalry game. This is not uncommon. As they piled on, let's see what the call is.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 45 on the kicking team. That is number 45's first unsportsmanlike foul of the half of the game. 15 yards, penalty, first down.
So Ty Eller with the unsportsmanlike to draw that penalty. So just over 7 minutes to go here in the third, and Virginia needs something good to happen in a hurry. Pass dump to Kemp. Kemp getting behind a blocker, back to the open field, and he's taken down from behind, and another flag down. So Kemp with a nice gain, but a flag is thrown again.
Holding, offense number 69, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Chris Glazer with the hold, the 6'4", 305-pound senior.
I initially didn't see it. They run a little wide receiver screen. Seems like Chris Glazer isn't real happy with it, but they run a wide receiver screen, and it initially looked like it was pretty well blocked by everybody, including the receiver to that side. And Billy Kemp was able to pick up, you know, some pretty good yardage, but basically the officials saw it differently.
Backed up to the 40. Kemp in motion on 1st down and 13. Pass to Poljan as he gets knocked down by Diablo after a 7-yard pickup. Divine Diablo, when he's around, you are going to know it. He is going to put a lick on you.
He certainly is, and also plays the football well. He's a really complete football player. Defends the pass well. Had a nice pick on Trevor Lawrence a week ago, and will certainly come up with some big hits tonight.
He's also a very engaging young man. We've enjoyed talking with him a couple of times. We've been able to cover the Hokies. On the run here, Simpson, and a very determined run. He takes some men with him and just kept on moving those legs for a pickup of 11 yards for Virginia.
And this is big for Virginia, obviously, because of the score, but I just get a little momentum going to feel like there's some hope, there's some life, and coming up with a play like that right there by Shane Simpson, where you have a nice finish, oftentimes can do it.
Armstrong being chased again. Oh, he evades a tackler. He got free, and he's going to fire that one out of bounds. That could have gone for a big loss, however.
Let's get the sense of how he's hard to get down, and it's pretty good pursuit. That's Norrell Pollard, about 270 pounds, on the shoulders of Brennan Armstrong. You see his strength being able to shake him off and escape.
Pollard is 6-footer, 265 pounds. Giving chase. 2nd and 10. Going to be fired low and incomplete. He wanted Kemp again, but he was covered by 2 men. And Shamari Connor once again in the frame, as he has been most of the time tonight for the Hokies.
He certainly has. If you think about this defense for Virginia Tech, 2 of their better players, Shamari Connor and Divine Diablo, they're inside. I think if you're Virginia, you've got to give some opportunities to Lavelle Davis down at the bottom of your screen. He's 6'7". Give him an opportunity on one of these smaller corners to go fight for the football.
Yeah, they need an electrifying play, and Bronco pretty much said that to Katie. Kemp is going to break free, pick up a couple of extra yards after the catch. Billy Kemp, far and away Virginia's #1 target, not in the end zone. He's only caught 1 touchdown, but plays like this to get them toward the end zone. It goes for 18.
Yeah, and certainly nothing against Billy Kemp. To your point, Dave, he's been great for them, but Lavelle Davis has got 5 touchdowns. So looking for a big play, find your way into the end zone. Well,
there he is. Yeah, he goes diving into the end zone. Poljan is going to pick up the touchdown. 23 yards. So there's the big play they needed from Armstrong. He gets it to Poljan for 6.
Yeah, they did need it. Poljan just coming across the formation there. You see it from the bottom of the screen. Good job anticipating, and I think Virginia Tech just kind of loses him. He's kind of crossing the field there, and a little bit, just a little something to get you going, and now probably going for 2.
Yep, they line up for the 2-point conversion. 30-13. Armstrong throws short, and it is 2 points. And a completed pass to Jana, so they convert that, a 2-point conversion for the Cavaliers. So they do pick up some momentum.
They do. They just run Jana in the wake of Lavelle Davis's release, and you only need to pick up a couple yards for that 2-point conversion. So it's good timing and anticipation by Brennan Armstrong, and this is still down 15, but there's got to feel like there's a little life left in you with a lot of football still left to be played, down just 2 scores.
Well, that's where the Cup is right now in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth Cup. But this drive gives Virginia some hope. 7 plays, 57 yards, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So nearly 5 minutes to go here in the third. All sorts of time. Armstrong taking command. A fine pass there to Poljan for 23 yards. And then they make good on the 2-point conversion. So Justin Dunkel to kick off. And the touchback, 30-15, Virginia Tech. And let's toss it down to Katie George.
Well, guys, unfortunately, Virginia cornerback Devontae Cross was in the medical tent for much of the third quarter. He finally exited and limped his way all the way to UVA's locker room for further evaluation. Tim, how does this affect UVA's secondary?
Well, listen, they've already been thin. They've kind of dealt with injuries and rotated guys around. Candidly, Cross has not played well. We saw a missed tackle earlier. I think they just need to really get home, find ways to put pressure on Burmeister. I think that's what's going to give them their best chance for success.
2-yard gain for Herbert there. Now keep in mind, Virginia Tech has had plenty of key players miss games on the defensive side as well, and have paid for it in back-to-back losses to Pitt and Clemson. They've been badly outscored in the second half, 24-0 by Pittsburgh, and a 28-0 run by the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, and then just another factor to kind of give hope to this Virginia team.
Pass completed here on the near side to Robinson. Tavian Robinson ripped off a long 60-yard touchdown reception in the first half. Longest pass play of the year for the Hokies. First down and 10 coming up now for Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech there, trying Elijah Gaines, the true freshman who's now in for Devontae Cross. 38 down at the bottom of your screen. And, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tavion Robinson or Trey Turner, find a way to match up and see what he has.
Burmeister to run again and lob this one out of bounds. Nothing there for him. Now the second half scoring for Virginia Tech. You're talking about losses in every single instance here. The Liberty, Miami, Pitt, and the Tigers. And we talked about all the points they've given up, Tim, in the second half of games down the stretch.
Yeah, that's something the team has to know, feel, right? They've lived it. And so, look, it's probably something that both coaches have talked to their teams about. I'm sure that Bronco, has kind of mentioned it at halftime, and I'm sure that Justin Fuente has talked to his team about being able to finish. They find themselves here in a meaningful game trying to do just that.
Burmeister firing to the flat, but what coverage by Virginia. You talk about the game that Nick Grant has had so far. They lose 3 yards on this play.
Yeah, it's just a kind of a wide receiver bubble to Blackshear, and Tavion Robinson doesn't block on the perimeter. It's essentially a screen, and so you get a block downfield. It's almost like a sweep, basically. And if you don't get perimeter blocking, bad things can happen. That's a nice job by Nick Grant of just seeing it and firing.
Third down and 12. Burmeister out of the pocket, slings that to the sideline, and let's see where they put that football on the completion as Gaines was there for the coverage. It's going to be very close.
It's Gaines, they're trying him into the boundary, and it's a well-thrown ball. It's not deep enough on the route, and that's just short of the first down.
Well, the crowd, such as it is, urging the Hokies to go for it here on 4th and 1. As the clock runs inside 2:20 here in the third, they're going to go ahead and punt. And a fair catch signaled inside the 15-yard line. Sense where the drive will begin here for the Cavaliers. And our women's basketball doubleheader comes your way tomorrow on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We start in Pittsburgh with 2-1 the Panthers hosting Clemson at noon, and then number 4 NC State will take on Boston College. Flag on the play. And 1st and 10 coming up here. Virginia trailing 30-15. The false start. But the Cavaliers to take over here. at the 19-yard line for Armstrong. He's going to run and throw. Kind of a wobbly toss, but it's completed. He got it to Davis for the first down. 28 yards.
It's a great play by Brennan Armstrong. He's escaping out to his right as a left-handed quarterback. This is a hard throw. And then Lavelle Davis, who originally was running an in-cut, does a great job of working for his quarterback and then also fighting back down to the football. That's a nice play by the big freshman receiver,
who has had really an amazing season as Kemp tries to spin away, but they converge on him and gang up and drop him. Billy Kemp with a loss of 2 yards. We talk about Lavelle Davis now. He came into the ballgame, Tim, with 17 receptions and 5 touchdowns. And 12 of his 17 catches had gone for at least 20 yards. He's averaging 26 yards per reception. That's number 3 in the country. And he's a rookie.
I think they need to give him more opportunities. He's been so good with his opportunities that you can't throw the ball out of bounds or miss him when you're throwing it to him. He's got such a big catch radius. Just let him give it a chance.
Intercepted as Armstrong threw it right to the secondary, picked up by Strong. He is still on his feet. And finally, they're going to wrap him up after the pick. Dorian Strong. Virginia Tech came in tied for 4th in the country in sacks. Not a ton of interceptions, but this is a big, big play. And a return of 27.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Brennan Armstrong is throwing this to. I don't know if it's a miscommunication with Billy Kemp. I don't know if he's just not sure about what Lavelle Davis was doing, but there wasn't anybody anywhere near that football, and from Virginia, and that's why Strong's able to come up with the interception.
So final seconds of the 3rd quarter, and Herbert going to cut back inside. And the Juice will step out after he picks up a first, and a 14-yard scamper for Khalil Herbert, who's made some big, big gains in this game. Huge gains.
And he's got great vision and patience. I mean, that play was designed to go to the right. He ends up working his way all the way, backside there, and then does a good job of finishing.
Now Virginia Tech has gone over 200 yards in rushing in the first 3 quarters of this game. We are headed for the 4th, and the Hokies are on. ACC Network College Basketball coming your way Tuesday, 6:30 game 1. Clemson and Virginia Tech, and then at 8:30 Georgia Tech and FSU. Many thought Florida State would go to the Final Four last year. That's Tuesday on the ACC Network. Great balance out of the Hokies so far. The quarterback Burmeister is going to keep it. It opens up for him. Big gain for Burmeister, but before that play, Tim, 200 in rushing yards, 207 in passing yards for Virginia Tech. Great balance.
Yeah, great balance. They've thrown the ball well. They've been efficient with it. They've obviously run it well, and right there, a really nice run. Is we've seen Herbert have a great night. The keep off of that run, reading an interior defender, and Burmeister rips off a nice one.
12-yard gain. First down at 10. Herbert wants to try outside, puts on the brakes, and they find him quickly. Zane Zandier, we haven't called his name very often. The outstanding 6'3" senior from Pittsburgh. He gets the stop.
Yeah, that's a great observation by you, Dave, because Zandier is a run and hit guy. I mean, we've seen him all over the field in some of the Virginia games we've done. He's a good tackler. He's a good blitzer. He kind of finds his way to the football, but Virginia Tech's done a nice job on him tonight, and we have not called his name much.
Number 6 in the ACC in tackles per game. Brings up 2nd down and 13. Herbert diving into the line as he is taking down another carry. Stopped by Alonso, gain of 2. Well, Hokies trying to avenge a loss last year in the Commonwealth Cup, which came right down to the last minute of play. And Virginia won it 39-30 in Charlottesville. But the Hokies looking to grab the cup back and keep it for a year in Blacksburg. And we certainly hope when they meet again, there will be thousands and thousands of fans in the stands safely. 3rd down and 11. Burmeister will throw this one for the end zone and too far. Incomplete. He was looking for Mitchell.
And they were looking for an isolation for James Mitchell, which they got. And, you know, I think in these situations, sometimes the quarterback, as you see Burmeister kind of pat his chest like, hey, my bad. You want to give guys an opportunity to make a play on the football. The reason you're looking for these isolations is usually a size advantage, which Mitchell had. And Burmeister just doesn't give him enough of a shot to play the ball.
So Brian Johnson, who has connected a couple of times from 47 yards tonight, coming on to kick this one from 30 with 12:52 to play here in the 4th. And the Hokies trying to get on the board again. And again, twice tonight, Johnson has hit a field goal from much deeper than this. A 30-yard attempt for Virginia Tech. And that kick is up, and it is true.
Speed on this 76-yard touchdown run, and then right before the half, a completion to Tavion Robinson and some nifty running on the sideline. There it is. You know, kind of the difference so far. Think about, you know, breakout plays, but we've seen both teams sustain drives, but it's been the explosive plays that have been in Virginia Tech's favor.
Simpson trying to take it out. And getting across the 25-yard line. Let's go to Katie George down on the field.
Well, guys, during that last break, a UVA grad assistant ran up to the offense and said, the last time we beat these guys down here was one of the biggest comebacks in UVA history. We can do it again. That last win in Blacksburg was in 1998. UVA outscored Tech 29-3 in the second half to win it 36-32. So a rallying cry on this sideline to try to come back in this one with 13 minutes to go.
Well, you try anything you can, right? In a rivalry game, you hope it really resonates. We shall see with 12:41 to play. And Armstrong, the lefty, to put it in the air. He's going to fire that one incomplete. Trying to connect with the freshman. And Dorian Strong with the coverage. The bigger problem has been Virginia has not been able to stop Virginia Tech. They've had points up in 7 out of 8 drives tonight.
No, they can't stop him. You know, you go even that first drive of the game, it was a holding penalty that kind of stalled that drive before a field goal. But other than that, pretty good penalty-wise, which has also helped Virginia Tech offensively.
Dump to Simpson, but not much after the catch as he's corralled by Barno. And just barely got that beyond the line of scrimmage for a 1-yard gain, 3rd down and 9. And Virginia certainly came in as the hot team. The Hokies quite cold, but they have reversed roles tonight for the most part. Kemp in motion. Armstrong's got to throw it again. A short toss this time and complete to Jana. But he'll pick up a 1st down. A gain of 13.
A bit of confusion there by the Virginia Tech defense. And Virginia usually operates with good tempo, and I would think that they continue to try to step on the gas a bit.
Armstrong down into the flat there, darts it into the flat for Davis, and he's stopped by Dorian Strong. But another good gain of 13 yards. They pick up another 1st down.
Well, I think teams that have tempo, Dave, you know, it kind of, this jump starts them a bit to speed it up even a little bit more, which they appear to be doing.
Off the play action, he'll keep it and trying to spin ahead. Armstrong takes a tumble. Tackled by Jalen Griffin. A 5-yard pickup for the quarterback out of Shelby, Ohio. Against Boston College, he had just a spectacular game. He passed for 287 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 130 and a touchdown. Now he's running for his life, and he's going to be taken down from behind and stopped by Armani Chapman.
Well, they bring the corner from the top of the screen, and Tony Poljan just doesn't do a great job of setting on him. You know, he knows that he's coming. He knows who he has to block. And, you know, normally when you bring a secondary player, if you can get picked up, there's opportunities in the back end, and just not a great job of executing in terms of dealing with the blitz from the secondary by Tony Poljan.
Well, now Brennan Armstrong dealing with the most important third down conversion for him tonight. Pressure on. He eludes a tackler, but down he goes. He's sacked on the play. Armstrong could not get free of Rashard Ashby. That's a 7-yard loss.
And basically, they're going back to the play they ran earlier on third down. He's trying to get Jana, and Virginia Tech does a nice job of covering it up. And you know, Armstrong ends up being stuck with the football. You can see some of the frustration. And Ashby, who's a really good football player, kind of always finds his way to the football. A good job of just sticking with it, because we've seen Armstrong kind of pull himself out of some of those plays.
Yeah, Ashby with his 4th sack. The senior had an exceptional year last year. So the Cavaliers have to punt. And Mitchell is going to let that bounce, and it's going to bounce down to about the 2-yard line. So just up with a 3-1 advantage. Last year went to Virginia and Bronco Mendenhall 39-30, and the Hokies would like that cup back in Blacksburg. Well, starting this drive inside the 5-yard line, and a handoff as they get this one into Halston for the carry, and eventually stopped by King, but a good gain of 8.
And another good example of what a good job the guys up front are doing, because it's not just one back, it's multiple backs. And there's Holston, when you're backed up in your own end, an 8-yard run on first down with really good movement by the guys up front.
And the running attack has been so good for the Hokies, and here with about 8.5 minutes to play, you know that'll be the feature. On the carry once again, it's Holston. And some fancy footwork as he's going to pick up 9 more yards.
Again, it's really well blocked. I mean, it's good movement. They're trying to work a double team. And, you know, as we talked about earlier, Zane Zandier usually makes a lot of, you know, tackles and is filling in there. You know, it's kind of double teams getting to the second level and creating all types of room for all of the backs for Virginia Tech.
Well, they've also got a very, very steady effort out of the quarterback, the junior from Southern California, Braxton Burmeister, getting the start. Right out of the gate, you could tell how confidently he was playing. He's going to carry here and tuck and dive, and he's going to gain 5 on that carry.
Yeah, you know, quarterback sweep, and you know, almost feels like there's a bit of a 4-minute offense with about 8 minutes left in this football game. They try to bring Zandier on a run blitz, and Brock Hoffman, the center, just kind of tosses him out of the way. But you know, Burmeister looks like maybe those broken toes you talked about earlier maybe took a little hit.
Yeah, 3 broken toes, courtesy of an offensive lineman who we shall not name. Certainly not done on purpose, just an accident that was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Well, Holston's had some really tough runs in this game. Cone King with the tackle, that'll get him 4 yards.
And I think in some ways for Holston, it's been a kind of a tricky year. You know, you have Khalil Herbert transfer in. He's had this great year. I'm sure that, you know, the expectation, you know, for the junior out of Georgia was that, you know, he was going to have a bigger role, and you know, he still had a role. He's done a nice job with his opportunities, and you know, I think they kind of make a nice 1-2 punch and kind of show him what he can do.
Well, the Hokies had been seriously dominating this rivalry for so long. 3rd down and 1. And he's able to dive ahead. Gam with a tackle, but pick up the 1st down. So the Hokies keep on rolling here. Last year, Virginia's victory in the Commonwealth Cup game snapped the Hokies' 15-game winning streak. Last time Virginia won here was 1998.
A lot of these guys probably weren't alive.
Yes. And by the way, this will be the 40th rushing attempt for Virginia Tech should they keep it on the ground again. He's going to throw it short, however, and it's going to be complete. He got it free for a short gain of 6 yards. Burmeister able to roll out and complete that.
Timeout, Virginia.
And a timeout with 5:24 to go in the 4th huddle. And join the guys coming up as soon as we finish up tonight around 11 o'clock right here on ACC Network, led by my basketball partner JC. So here comes 2nd down and 5. Burmeister with a handoff. Again, it's Holston, and he's really the workhorse here in the final moments down the stretch here for the Hokies, who lead at 33-15. And a timeout, Virginia.
30-second timeout, Virginia, 2nd of the half.
So we will take the break as well. ESPN app. What's typically the gift that you get for your appearances on Packer and Durham?
Oh, I'm expecting like a really nice watch or something from the guys. I don't know about you.
Maybe a Rolex.
I mean,
maybe something you can drive. Flag down on the play as Burmeister keeps and trying to slam ahead, but a flag down with 5:15 on the clock here. Rushing game has been so good for the Hokies tonight. Rushed for 250 yards.
Illegal motion, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
It is, by the way, the 6th time this season that the Hokies have rushed for at least 250 yards. And running down that clock and keeping the football away from Virginia. 3rd and 5. Braxton Burmeister and jumping the Cavaliers. So another flag down to go against Virginia.
Defense number 50, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's actually a really nice job by Burmeister there. You know, after that, kind of get into this situation, go with the count. Virginia has been trying to run blitz you, and obviously in this situation trying to do the same thing. It's a good job. It's a nice job of using the snap count, you know, that little clap to get a more manageable 3rd down.
3rd and 2.
30-second timeout, Virginia Tech. First charge timeout of this half.
They're dragging this out, aren't they?
So timeout, Hokies, 4:49 remaining. And still a 3rd down and 2 coming up. The ACC championship game is coming up on December 19th at 4 p.m. on ABC between the Fighting Irish and the Tigers. This should be a dandy. Clemson generating over 500 yards per game in offense. The last meeting, November 7th, Notre Dame knocked off the Tigers 47-40. It was a great football game, remembering, as everybody does, certainly in South Carolina, that Trevor Lawrence did not play in that game.
Well, and for me, it's why it almost doesn't feel like a rematch. But I just feel like they're a different team. And not that, you know, DJ Uyunglele didn't play well. He certainly did. But, you know, it doesn't feel that way. But I do think the bigger issue is, you see that 47 points there. I mean, Brent Venables' defense, you know, that usually does not happen against the defense that he's coached, and that was surprising.
Burmeister going down out of bounds as he carried the football and stopped by Nick Jackson. So a 4th down coming up with 4.5 minutes to go. 4th down and 3 for the Hokies.
I'd be surprised if they actually snapped this football.
Well, he's already gotten him to jump off once. And the clock will wind on down. So Virginia Tech taking a timeout. And working that clock down to 4:05.
I think it's the right decision here. I mean, you know, as much as you want to go for it, you've run the football well, you've controlled the line of scrimmage. But in a 3-score game, punting the football, you know, to a team that's got 1 timeout left, 4 minutes left, in the game, you know, it can feel like, you know, hey, what are we doing? You know, this has been slowed down, but smart by Bronco to play it the way that he has. But it's kind of a nice job of management by Justin Fuente in this situation.
On top 33-15. And so getting the punt away, and it's going to take a hop around the 30-yard line. So that's where this drive will start for Kemp and Armstrong and company upon the 32 yards. And we'll see what Armstrong can do here in the final 4 minutes of play. He came in a very hot quarterback. The Hokies, you have to give them a lot of credit for slowing him down. He didn't have the kind of game, anywhere near the kind of game he just had against Boston College. Got to put it in the air and going to fire this one out to Kemp. He's going to make some moves to gain some extra yards, and he does pick up a couple. And a 5-yard completion there. 2nd down and 5 for Virginia. Armstrong time to throw, throwing long over the middle, and that's going to be intercepted. Intercepted by Divine Diablo, wearing that number 25. He has had an outstanding night. That's quite a capper for him.
And really, Jabari Connor running underneath Billy Kemp, which forces this ball to be thrown a little high, and then it's, as you said, it's Divine Diablo. You know, just been everywhere tonight. I mentioned it earlier. He defends the pass well. He also, you know, come up and hit you. And, you know, for a guy that this could end up being, most likely is, you know, his last game in a Virginia Tech uniform, he had a heck of a night.
Yeah, his 4th interception this season, 6 tackles, the pick. He's also broken up 3 passes. That's a really, really fine night for Divine Diablo, the senior. Not a flag down here with 3.5 to go. So you put that number 25 on, that Frank Beamer number 25. That's an honor. That's the 5th time he's had an opportunity to wear that number. Usually it's the number 17. And he certainly did right by it in this one. Herbert with the carry, as they will tangle him up. Cohen King with the stop. And no gain on that rush.
That's a neat tradition by Virginia Tech. I mean, it's a program that's got a lot of tradition, and you know, whether it's, you know, what you think about, you know, how they play special teams or the lunch pail and the defenses that have, you know, been here in the past. I think it's pretty cool. You know, wear Frank Beamer's number 25, obviously what he's meant to this football program. You know, and you know, in many ways continues to mean to this football program. So it's a neat tradition, and I think that Divine Diablo has certainly represented it well every time he's had the opportunity to wear it, and certainly did tonight.
Another Beamer name in the headlines again, as Shane Beamer, who spent 20 seasons as an assistant coach, just named the South Carolina head coach on the 6th of December. And he said, you can bet Frank Beamer is going to be around a lot. And wasn't that music to the ears of the folks in South Carolina?
You mean he's got a all-access pass to practice and meetings? Is that what it sounds like?
I believe that's true. Anywhere Frank wants to be, and will help put his stamp, and of course his son first and foremost on that program for the Gamecocks. Holston with the carry here as we approach the 3-minute mark, and Virginia can no longer stop the clock. They are out of timeouts.
In all seriousness, that's a really cool situation. Obviously, you would think that Shane Beamer, grew up looking up to his father, how he coached, probably in many ways aspired to be like his, dad. And, and I think that it's cool. It's cool to see that. It's cool to see somebody kind of, probably reach that dream and have the example that he had.
I know in your household, you and your brother Matthew both had your dad's example who played in the NFL. And you talk about role models. A 5-yard penalty here. 33-15 Virginia Tech. But, football all in the family. You grew up with it the same way that Shane did and benefited so much from it.
Yeah, I think you've seen the ads, football's family, and it is a neat experience. And listen, I think we've seen what this season has been for so many players. There's been sacrifice, not seeing their families, at times. And, it's more than just one person out on a football field making it happen. It's a lot of other things that go into it. It's a big time commitment for a lot of people, coaches included. And so, whether it's a coach, whether it's these players, as we kind of, see an ACC season, played throughout this year, probably just a good opportunity to kind of acknowledge these guys for how they've met the commitment of playing, in Virginia's case, being available to play every time they were asked.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. Yep.
Which, is hard to do. And, in Virginia Tech, who, let's face it, they played some games with players that they probably would have preferred not to have out on the field. But that was what they were tasked with this year.
I'm going to punt this one away on 4th down and 18 as that takes a hop right around the 45-yard line. A flag down, 1:34 to go, and his game has dragged out here in the last few moments, but will not take away from the fact that Virginia Tech has played one of their better games of the season here tonight. And a loss for Virginia will put them at 5-5. And a victory for the Hokies make them 5-6. Now, Virginia Tech has gone to a bowl game every year since 1993. The longest streak in the nation.
Running into the kicker, number 32. Penalties decline. First out.
So you're talking about 27 in a row. Next up, Georgia, 23 in a row. There is no wins requirement to go to a bowl this season. That's been waived. But the Hokies could have a major decision to make as far as whether they want to participate in a bowl should they be invited. And that's going to be common with a lot of programs.
Don't you think they're exhausted, though? Don't you think they've kind of been through the fire? And I think that Justin Fuente, I think he's been pretty candid and clear about kind of the emotional exhaustion of what they've gone through. He said, look, I mean, it's not like he was swinging a sledgehammer every morning, but we mentioned it. Tested 40 times throughout the year. These guys have been through a lot, missed their families quite a bit, and so it feels right for them to kind of finish it like this.
Well, Jared Hewitt, the senior from Venice, Florida, with the sack he talked about this week, how he's really worn that loss last year to Virginia, how it really wore on the Hokies all year long. But now they are about to get the Commonwealth Cup back in Blacksburg, and they do it with a victory here tonight against the Virginia Cavaliers. On the field here at Lane Stadium. Armstrong back to throw as he will scamper away again. He's had a tough night with a couple of picks. Does get that one away for Lavelle Davis, who never really got free to hurt the Hokies tonight. Not in a big way anyway, and few did for Virginia. And on the other side, there's a big touchdown reception by Tavion Robinson in the first half, and Khalil Herbert broke free and ran for 76 yards in the most spectacular play of the night. Those are the two biggest ones for the Hokies. And here in the final seconds, they can celebrate. They are going to knock off Virginia and return the Commonwealth Cup to Blacksburg.
Yeah, and I think Justin Fuente deserves a little credit, Dave. I mean, you referenced it in this game, during the game, that look, Virginia was a hot team, trending in the right direction, and the same could not be said for Virginia Tech. And so, with everything going on, holidays on the horizon, to get his team to rally the way that they rallied in a meaningful game, for these programs, I think deserves a lot of credit for that. And I think the players deserve a lot of credit for that as well.
Well, the Cavaliers in the red zone, 1st and 10 for Armstrong. And he will fire that one incomplete. And intended for Henry. So the Hokies about to finish the regular season at 5-6. They will not have a game next week. Virginia was offered the opportunity to play next week. They have declined that opportunity. So their regular season ends tonight. Flag down here on a false start.
Number 70, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And now we will see if either one of these schools will elect to go bowling here in 2020. But with everything that has happened, and with the pandemic and all of the stresses, and frankly the exhaustion of having to try and play every week, and being pretty darn successful at that for both of these schools, it just might be the end of it here tonight in 2020. Another stop for Connor, who's had a really fine night defensively for the Hokies. So the few fans that are allowed here at Lane Stadium getting a chance to celebrate a victory over their rivals as Armstrong scampers away looking for the end zone, and he fires as that is broken up, intended for Davis, with just 5 seconds on the clock.
You can see why
So the dejected look of the Cavaliers. Yep. Virginia Tech 253 rushing yards. Khalil Herbert, the star, 162 rushing yards and 20 carries. And the defense sacked the quarterback 4 times and picked off Brennan Armstrong twice tonight, at least to this point. On 4th down and 12, he's going to fire that one incomplete. And now the celebration really beginning in earnest here for the Hokies. And it's certainly not the same when you're not amidst the pandemic as far as that celebration is concerned, but they're going to enjoy it nonetheless. The Hokies knock off the Cavaliers here tonight in Blacksburg. And Tim, your final thoughts?
Well, I'm impressed by the effort of Virginia Tech. Been through a lot this season. I think there's a lot of frustration, but in a rivalry game, to kind of show up and play the way they played on both sides of the football. Was really impressed with that effort. And Virginia has had a nice year and done a great job of being available every week. Pretty good season for them, but certainly not the way they wanted to end it here in the Commonwealth Cup.
Well, you can see the dominance in the cup for the Hokies. 20-2 against Virginia over the last 22 meetings. And this one tonight goes into the hands of Coach Fuente and the Hokies 33-15. For my partner, Tim Hasselbeck, and for Katie George, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday night. JC in the Huddle, coming your way next here on the ACC Network.